Status is not about money, fame, or titles. It is a psychological signal. People read status through behavior long before they consider credentials. The way you speak, react, choose, and carry yourself constantly broadcasts where you place yourself in the social hierarchy. Most people think status is something others give to them, but in reality, it is something you quietly claim or surrender through everyday actions. What makes status tricky is that it is fragile. You can build respect for years and lose it in minutes through a few unconscious behaviors. Often, people don't lose status because they are weak or unintelligent, but because they are unaware of how certain habits make them appear insecure, desperate, or unreliable. Below are 10 behaviors that instantly lower a person's perceived status, often without them realizing it. Number 1. Over-explaining yourself. One of the fastest ways to lower your status is to explain yourself too much. When someone makes a simple decision and then spends several minutes justifying it, they unintentionally communicate doubt. Over-explaining sends the message that you are seeking approval, rather than standing confidently in your choice. High-status individuals do not feel compelled to convince everyone. They state their position clearly and allow others to accept or reject it. They understand that not everyone needs to agree with them, and that disagreement does not threaten their identity. Over-explaining usually comes from fear of being misunderstood, disliked, or judged. But the more you try to control how others perceive you, the weaker you appear. Calm brevity, on the other hand, signals self-trust. When you trust your decisions, others are more likely to trust them too. Number 2. Reacting emotionally to disrespect. Nothing lowers status faster than losing emotional control in response to disrespect. When someone insults, mocks, or challenges you and you immediately lash out, you hand them power. You show that they can control your emotions with a few words. High-status people are emotionally regulated. This does not mean they tolerate disrespect. It means they respond strategically rather than impulsively. Sometimes they ignore it. Sometimes they address it calmly. Sometimes they remove themselves entirely. What they don't do is explode, argue frantically, or seek validation in the moment. Emotional overreaction signals insecurity. It tells others that your sense of self is fragile and easily shaken. Silence, composure, or measured response communicate strength. It says, "You don't have access to my inner world." Number 3. Constantly seeking validation. When someone constantly asks for reassurance, compliments, or approval, their status quietly drops. Validation-seeking behavior includes fishing for praise, repeatedly asking if you did something right, or changing your opinions to match whoever you're talking to. People with strong presence validate themselves internally. They may appreciate recognition, but they do not depend on it. This independence is deeply attractive and commanding. It shows self-respect and emotional maturity. When you outsource your self-worth to others, you place yourself beneath them psychologically. You communicate that they are the authority over your value. Over time, people begin to see you as less confident, less decisive, and less grounded. Number 4. Talking too much without saying anything. Filling every silence with words lowers your status more than silence ever could. Many people talk excessively because silence makes them uncomfortable. They believe that being quiet makes them seem awkward, boring, or unintelligent. In reality, the opposite is often true. High-status individuals are comfortable with silence. They don't rush to prove themselves through constant talking. When they speak, their words carry weight because they are intentional and relevant. Talking too much often signals nervousness or a need to impress. It can also make others feel talked over or mentally fatigued. Silence creates mystery, authority, and space. It allows others to lean in rather than tune out. Number 5. Being too available. Always being available lowers your perceived value. When you immediately respond to every message, cancel your plans for others, or drop everything when someone calls, you communicate that your time is not important. High-status people respect their time and expect others to respect it as well. They don't disappear, but they don't overextend themselves either. Their availability is balanced, not desperate. Scarcity creates value. When people know that access to you is not unlimited, they take you more seriously. Being selectively available shows that you have a life, priorities, and boundaries, all markers of high status. Number 6. Apologizing excessively. Apologies are important when you have genuinely done something wrong, but excessive apologizing for existing, speaking, or taking space lowers your status significantly. Saying sorry too often communicates guilt and submissiveness. Many people apologize out of habit, not necessity. They apologize for asking questions, for expressing opinions, or for minor inconveniences that don't warrant guilt. Over time, this trains others to see them as lesser or unsure. High-status individuals take responsibility without self-erasure. They say thank you for your patience, instead of sorry for bothering you. They correct mistakes without dramatizing them. This balanced accountability signals confidence rather than weakness. Number 7. Gossiping and speaking negatively about others. Nothing damages status like constant gossip. Speaking badly about others makes people subconsciously wonder what you say about them when they're not around. It creates distrust and lowers your moral authority. High-status individuals are selective with their words. They may acknowledge issues or conflicts, but they do not indulge in unnecessary negativity. They understand that how they speak about others reflects how they see themselves. Gossip also signals a lack of purpose. It suggests that you are focused on people rather than progress. Those who are building something meaningful rarely have time to tear others down. Number 8. Lacking boundaries. People who have no boundaries often believe they are being kind or accommodating. In reality, they are training others to disrespect them. Saying yes to everything, tolerating poor treatment, or avoiding confrontation at all costs lowers status over time. Boundaries are not aggression. They are self-respect in action. High-status individuals are clear about what they accept and what they don't. They don't over-explain their limits or feel guilty for enforcing them. When you fail to set boundaries, resentment builds, and others unconsciously lose respect for you. Clear boundaries create safety, predictability, and authority in relationships. Number 9. Trying too hard to be liked. Desperation is visible. When someone tries too hard to be liked, laughing too much, agreeing with everything, or suppressing their true personality, it lowers their status instantly. High-status people allow themselves to be disliked by some. They understand that universal approval is impossible and unnecessary. They prioritize authenticity over acceptance. When you try too hard to please everyone, you dilute your identity. People don't connect with perfection. They connect with honesty. Confidence in who you are, even with flaws, commands more respect than endless people-pleasing. Number 10. Inconsistency between words and actions. Nothing destroys status faster than inconsistency. When someone says one thing and does another, trust erodes. Even small inconsistencies, arriving late repeatedly, breaking minor promises, or changing stories, chip away at credibility. High-status individuals are reliable. Their words mean something because their actions back them up. They understand that reputation is built on follow-through, not intention. Consistency signals integrity, discipline, and self-respect. It shows that you can be counted on. Without it, no amount of charisma or intelligence can sustain respect.